Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebekah Miller. I'm a registered dietitian, personal trainer, and my page is all things nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. So if you're interested in realistic nutrition tips, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any videos. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about things that I wish I knew before going into my postpartum weight loss journey. I am now 9 months postpartum, and it's been a hell of a ride, let me tell you. I can't even believe I'm at 9 months. Like, what the heck? But there's lots of things looking back that I wish I would have known and wish I would have done differently. As a dietitian and trainer, going into postpartum, I thought it was going to be a breeze. I could just lose the weight, no problem, just bounce back, and it would be all fine and dandy and it would be no issues. And boy, was I wrong. So today I wanted to give you my tips and insights on what I wish I knew and what I would do differently with my next baby. The first thing that I wish I knew was that breastfeeding actually doesn't make the weight fall off. I feel like so many people were telling me, oh, don't worry, you were fit, the breastfeeding will just melt the weight off, it'll be no problem, just eat what you want. And I believed it. So the first 3-4 months postpartum, I didn't do anything to try to watch what I was eating. I just ate whatever was in front of me, and I actually gained 20 pounds of fat because I thought that it would just fall off. In fact, I was so hungry 24/7 that I was literally binge eating on a daily basis. And that was something I wish I would have known, was that it doesn't work like that for everyone. In my experience, breastfeeding has made it incredibly difficult to lose weight because of the insane hunger, and it's made it incredibly difficult to stay in a calorie deficit. So some things that I would do differently moving forward, especially if I'm going to breastfeed my second baby, I'm going to be a little more intentional about the things that I'm eating in that first time frame. I'm not saying that I want to go on a diet or be in a heavy deficit those first 3 months, because I truly believe that we need to heal and recover and not worry about cutting calories, but I am going to be more intentional about the foods that I'm eating. Some things, for example, is that maybe less sweets. I got lots of crumble cookie and desserts on a daily basis, and I could have moderated those a little bit better. Does it mean that you can't have those at all? No. But do I need to eat a whole cookie a day? Probably not. Something else that I'll do differently is watch the type of snacks that I'm eating during those middle of the night feeds. I remember with the hunger, I was eating full-blown meals every time that the baby woke up, which was every 2 to 3 hours. So instead of having full-blown meals, I think I'll just see if I can prepare maybe some portion controlled things to eat during those middle of the night feeds that are protein and fiber, and make sure that I'm still getting the nourishment I need without blowing my calories out of proportion. Something else that I'm definitely going to do differently is when I get to that 3-month mark is I'm going to be more intentional about my macros and calories. So this first go round, I didn't really know what that would look like. I've never breastfed before. I never had a baby before. I didn't know what my calories and macros looked like. Before I had a baby, I knew my body. I had the formula. I ate this amount of calories, this much protein. I did this exercise, and I could cut in a simple way. Like, it wasn't easy, but it was simple. I knew the formula, I knew my body, and I could do it no problem. Now, it took a long time to learn what my body needed. So I know next baby, I'm gonna have a better game plan of what my body needs, and I'm gonna be able to go into it with a better mindset, as well as a better idea of what calories I need to be eating and how to work around this hunger if I do decide to breastfeed. The question I get all the time is, well, how many calories do I need if I am breastfeeding and want to lose weight? So from my understanding is that the first 3 months, you don't really want to be in a calorie deficit. You're healing, you're recovering. You just want to try to eat at maintenance. So I would understand that whatever my maintenance calories are, I would do based on what I know about my body, my age, everything. And then I would add 500 to 700 calories in addition to account for milk production. So for every ounce of milk that you make, it's about 20-ish calories that you're burning. So you gotta times that. If you're exclusively breastfeeding, that's anywhere from 24 to 32 ounces a day of milk, which equals to, Alexa, what's 24 times 20? Breastfeeding of 24 ounces up to 32, that's anywhere from 480 calories to up to almost 700 calories a day just to produce that milk. So your body is basically doing a whole entire workout every single day, which is why you're hungry AF. So when you are ready to lose that weight, you take your weight loss calories, and I wouldn't recommend a deficit that's too low, or 10 to 20% max weight loss, and then add back 600-ish calories to account for that milk production. This is way easier said than done because I'm 9 months in and I'm still struggling with that breastfeeding hunger. I'm still struggling with this weight loss journey. I've lost about 12 pounds from the beginning, since I started in March, of my actual intentional weight loss, and I have changed my body composition. Things have changed, but it has been difficult. This hunger is out of control for me, and it's just something that I'm gonna have to deal with and work with until I stop breastfeeding. But I know for next time that I'm gonna have a better game plan of the types of foods I'm eating, focusing on protein, fiber, and volume, and less on the sweets and treats that were making up the majority of my calories at the beginning, which led to an increase in weight gain. The second thing that I wish I knew before starting my postpartum journey was that you are literally starting over from scratch when it comes to your fitness. I don't know if that's the same for you, but for me, I worked out my entire pregnancy. I was the fittest I ever was before I got pregnant, but I felt like I was literally starting over from scratch the minute that I got the okay to work out, which I was not expecting. I had so many people say, muscle memory, it'll come back, no problem, whatever, and that really wasn't the case for me. I remember trying to get back into fitness, and I was doing push-ups, and I barely can do a push-up on my knees, and I felt so defeated and weak. I literally cried the whole rest of the day, which hormones, you can't blame me there. And I just felt so weak and like I was literally starting over from scratch, and I hated that. So there's not really much I could do differently other than just going into it with a different mindset. Instead of thinking that, oh my gosh, I gotta start all over, I gotta build back up, blah, 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 I'm kind of taking it as a way of sharing my journey. I actually grew my following by sharing the journey from the beginning, because it happens to everyone. We all starting over. My body just didn't recover well from workouts during pregnancy, and my body just didn't do well with the birthing process and all of those things. So yeah, I was starting over, but I changed the mindset to I have to start over to I get to start over. I've actually been trying out different exercises like Pilates and getting back into running again, and it's so awesome to see my body grow stronger with different forms of exercise. So definitely what I would do is be more intentional about the exercise that I'm doing. I would probably start walking more often just to be able to get that cardiovascular in, and then start with a beginner or weight training program and just build from there and just have a better mindset about it. The third thing that I wish I knew was more about postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. I know this isn't necessarily fitness or nutrition related, but it did play a role in my postpartum experience. So everyone always says, watch for PPD, you know, there's not a whole lot of information about it, but I actually had postpartum depression, and I think that was the most debilitating form of depression that I've ever had in my entire life. So if you are a new mom or you're about to have a baby, look for these signs. If you are feeling like you're crying and you hate everything about raising a human and you hate having a baby and you actually feel these thoughts, just know that you are not alone and to seek help for this. I remember I was just crying in the middle of the night to my husband saying, I never want a baby again. I never want to do this again. I hate being a mom. And I truly believed it in that moment. And it also held me back from being able to do other things in my life, like exercise, eat healthy, understand my hunger cues, and all of that stuff. If you catch on by week 2 that you are struggling with postpartum depression and you're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to deal with this. This is part of motherhood. No, reach out for help, because it truly was one of the most debilitating things I've ever felt in my entire life. And especially if you're a new mom, these are feelings that are just going to overconsume and overwhelm you. And it's so important that you get medication, therapy, the things that you need to be able to push through this. The fourth thing that I wish I knew before going into my postpartum journey was that baby sleep is not as intuitive as you think it is. And I feel like people don't tell you that. People just say, oh, you won't sleep, or oh, this or that, but they don't really give you everything else, like part of the picture, right? Like naps, for me, Violet fought naps. I felt like I never had any time for anything else during the day because she fought every single dang nap. And so for me, if she went down for a nap, that was the time that I had to work out, and that was the time that I had to prep or make meals or whatever. So that was very unexpected. I thought going into it that, oh, I'll just work my business, because I used to run a full-time private practice. I'll be able to work out just when she naps and when Michael's home and all of these things. Oh boy, was I delusional. That is not the case. The babies just take up so much of your time, and I feel like people don't understand it until you're in it. And for me, I really did think that I was going to be able to do it all. I really naively thought that I could eat healthy, I could lose this weight, I can bounce back, I can work out, I can do all these things and still be a mom. And maybe your experience is different, but for me, I felt like I was constantly trying to get a baby to sleep. I was constantly trying to learn how to breastfeed and eat because I was starving all the time. And in reality, it just doesn't work like that. So moving forward, what I would do differently is, well, I have a better understanding of baby sleep now, so I'm definitely going to start with good sleep habits from the beginning. I don't think you need to sleep train or anything like that if you don't want to, but start better sleep habits, and then utilizing the time I do have to even get a 10-minute or a 20-minute workout. I did that at the beginning when I started working out again, when Violet would only nap for 30 or 45 minutes. I started with 20-minute, 10-minute workouts, and I think that is totally awesome by utilizing that time. Another thing that I would do differently is taking more walks with her. Maybe do walking naps at the beginning. Maybe do one nap a day, doing a walking nap around the block, something like that. So those are just some of the things that I would do differently and what I did not expect. And I think that also hindered my weight loss goals as well. The last thing that I wish I knew before starting my postpartum journey was how different your body would be. I always know, everyone always says, oh, your body changes and things are different. And yeah, but you don't really realize it until you're in it. I got stretch marks all over my body, and that is something that will not go away. I stretched all down here. I have stretch marks from my belly button down, stretch marks all over my legs, my boobs, all of these things, and that is just something that I'm gonna have to learn to embrace and not be able to change. So going forward with my second pregnancy, I'm gonna understand that that's a genetic thing. I can't really change that, and I'm just gonna have to embrace it anyway. Something that I'll go do differently when it comes to my second baby is I'm gonna have better expectations. I know a little bit more now. I've had a baby, I went through the postpartum initial stage, so I have an idea of what that looks like. So I can go into it my second time postpartum with a better mindset, knowing that sleep is gonna be rough for a while. If I breastfeed, I'm gonna be hungry. If I am gonna be depressed, I'm gonna have someone to work with on that. So I know going into it what it's gonna look like. It's not gonna be as life-altering as it was the first time. I would love to hear your feedback on things that you wished you knew before you started your postpartum fitness journey, and I want to know if any of these things resonated with you, because for me, I feel like postpartum has been the hardest journey I've ever been on. Not only my physical health, but also my mental health. This has been a true life change that I just was not prepared for. But how can you be if you've never done this before? So that's why I made this video, so that I can give you all a little bit insight on what I would wish I knew and what I would do differently going forward. If you like this video, please make sure you like it and then subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any future videos, and let me know in the comments your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week.